north. Another plague of locusts is spreading across the region, and Marsabit County is in the thick of things as its skies and lands are infested with a new homegrown swarm that threatens the country's food security. And to his Mamoguyo traversed the vast and remote sub-counties of Laisamis and North Hor, which are now the breeding grounds for the pests because of the hot and desert-like climate, and where millions of nymphs have hatched, and now reports that farmers there are bracing for the worst.
Marsabit County is now the new epicenter of the second wave of homegrown desert locusts that are threatening the country's food security. The vast and remote sub-counties of Laisamis and North Hor are now the breeding ground for the pest because the hot and desert-like environment in the area is conducive. As a result, millions of locust nymphs have hatched. The army of locusts that has now invaded half of Marsabit County is now sweeping the skies over Marsabit, casting a long shadow over grazing fields and farmlands. This swarm of pests has covered the field of crops, grazing fields, and everything in between, every tree, every blade of grass. According to the county government, at least 60,000 hectares of grazing fields and farmlands have been destroyed by the locusts. At least 40,000 residents in both Laisamis and North Hor sub-counties are now staring starvation in the face. Isako Diba, a teacher and a resident of North Hor, says the desert locust invasion has brought fear among the pastoralist community in the area since the desert locust decimates everything it touches.
Inzige imetuadhiri zaidi kwa sababu wanamaliza nyasi, hakuna nyasi. Saa hii ni wakati wa mvua, lakini sisi kama jamii tumeadhirika sana, hakuna nyasi, tunapata kiangazi mapema. Kawaida wakati wa kiangazi mali inafuata mali kuna malisho. Wanaenda mbali nasi, basi inatutatiza, tunakosa maziwa, tunakosa nyama.
Pastoralists in this end of the county are worried lot as early drought is approaching. This despite heavy rainfall quench the earth following prolonged drought that was witnessed last year.
Hata hiyo mifugo sasa simeenda mbali sana kwa sababu hakuna nyasi wanapata huku karibu. Sasa watu wako na njaa kabisa, wanakaa vibaya sana. Watu wako na njaa sana. Haswa mpaka hata watu ya huko juu, watu ya reserve wameadhirika sana na njaa. Tena wakati bado tunafuatilia mambo za locust, ndio hii tena mambo ya ugonjwa. Sasa kila pahali imefungwa. Hakuna kwenda kwa jirani ati unaomba nini, unaomba chumvi, unaomba nini, hakuna.
Marsabit County Director of Agriculture, Julius Gitu, paints a grim picture of what awaits the residents of the expansive county and for who pastoralism is an economic lifeblood.
Marsabit 80% depends on pastoralism and 16% depends on agropastoralism. If these two livelihoods are threatened, it means that for the next 6 months, the communities won't get sustenance for their families and also for the market vibrancy. The losses that are going to accrue by the end of the season, we estimate that we'll be losing around, if we don't control it now, in terms of crop production, we are looking at losses of up to 60%, because the locusts are still here with us. You have seen that they are in Gofchoba. You have seen here the damage they have left, and they are only flying out of the scare. They are only shifting their point of attack. So they move from Dodogish, they go to another particular area. So the same damage is still within the county and is affecting both the pasture and the crop farms.
Both residents and stakeholders now fear the county could suffer severe food shortfalls as residents live through the two current nightmare of locust and COVID-19 pandemic.
And people in that region, about 20,000 families has been affected, and in Laisamis, a similar number has been affected. So basically, in total, we are talking about 40 to 56,000 people who have been affected by this crisis. But we, as people who are on the ground, people who are in touch with these communities on daily basis. We strongly feel that, looking at the damage, looking at the ravage, of pasture which has been caused by this invasion, this thing needs to be treated as a national disaster.
Tunaomba pia serikali watusaidie na chakula ya watu na pia hiyo mbuzi, kwa sababu kama ni ya watu peke yake mali itakufa. Tunataka both animals and people.
Janga tena ya corona imekasa zaidi watu. Hakuna mahali unaenda. Hiyo mifugo yako imeenda mbali. Kitambo uende pahali mifugo yuko, hata kukufa unakufa kwa njia. Kwa sababu siko mbali kabisa.
The County Department of Agriculture says it is facing challenges in controlling the spread despite ground and aerial spraying that has been ongoing for weeks now. Among the challenges facing the county is lack of enough resources due to vastness and remoteness of the county. The National Government Ministry of Agriculture has so far spent at least 300 million shillings in locust control, even as they expect additional amount of 300 million more shillings from National Treasury, thus bringing the amount to be used to 600 million shillings.
Yeah, in terms of resource, in terms of logistics, it's quite an uphill task, and we would wish that the national government, through the Desert Locust Organization, can be able to support the county mitigate against this particular menace of desert locust.
Despite government intervention in distributing pesticides, planes, and national youth servicemen to the ground, the county is still struggling to save the remaining grazing fields. According to the residents, the county government is the weak link in the fight against the locust because of its failure to provide protective gear and to facilitate the ground team to enhance ground surveillance, fueling of vehicles, and accommodation of NY servicemen. NTV has learned that the deployed servicemen failed to spray the insects due to failure by the county to provide protective gears and basic needs like water, milk, and fuel, thus the spread of the locust in North Horr and Laisamis.
Tukiwaona wanatatizika sana. Unaona mtu anashika dawa na mkono, hakuna overall, hakuna kinga nzuri. Mtu anahitaji maji, mtu anahitaji maziwa, hakuna chochote. Ingawa wanatusaidia ni minimal, kwa kiasi kidogo sana.
Not very easy for the government, because even getting this information is not very easy. Facilitation for the NYS recruits has also been a big challenge, but we've also been trying to support the county government so that it's able to deliver on this matter.
Na wajaribu wakituma staff wao, wakituma hizo machini zao, watumane hadi facilitation. Isiletwe tu kutuonyesha sisi wananchi wa Marsabit kuna picture, inakaa kama picture kwa sababu hiyo ndege inakaa kwa uwanja ndege. Sisi tunaiona tukipita pale. National Youth Service wamekaa Laisamis, wengine nafikiri wako Notor, wako na bidhaa, lakini hakuna kazi wanafanya. Wakiongojea siji wanunuliwa chai na nani. Wanaongojea wananchi wanunuliwa chai au nani watanunuliwa chai. Kwa hivyo mimi ningeona kama wakiwa wameamua kweli kusaidia, wasaidie na wajaribu kumaliza nzige.
Yes.
Panta.
Cases of excess use of chemicals in Laisamis, and North Horr has seen death of birds that fed on spread locusts, despite warning from experts against the use of pesticides, thus raising concerns over the safety of pesticide used in the spraying and possible effects of the chemicals on the environment. In Laisamis, birds were seen struggling to fly after feeding on dead locust that was sprayed by National Youth Servicemen, perhaps raising the question whether the 600 NY servicemen were vigorously trained by Food and Agriculture Organization. The government has been mum on the components of chemical used amid worries about their effects since farms are also being sprayed. The COVID-19 pandemic has further slowed down the fight against the locust as resources are diverted to contain the spread of the disease. The Agriculture Ministry says it has been hit by a shortage of pesticides following the suspension of flights worldwide. It says it has become difficult to procure the right chemicals for the locust spraying, given that many countries have closed their borders in effort to control the spread of deadly COVID-19. Despite these setbacks, stakeholders majorly and governments have come up with technological solution to the locust problem in the county. Led by Pastoral Community Initiative Development, an application called Open Kit Data has already been developed to send coordinates of the locust to a central server where a focal person from both county and national government can access and quickly mobilize ground or aerospraying. To complement this, at least 70 scouts from within the county on voluntary basis help in ground surveillance by sending coordinates using the OpenKit data application, which, according to the developer, does not need internet connection to upload the data to the server, owing to the fact that half of the county lacks 4G internet connectivity. For residents of a county that is at the front line in the battle against the invaders, theirs is to desperately wait for government intervention.
Na mvua amenyesha wiki moja iliyopita, na sahi hapo pale tunasimama na hakuna nyasi, imeenda na sige. Na hiyo sige ameadhiri sisi pamoja na mahali pia. Tunataka usaidizi mingi sana na NGO na serikali kuu pia.
Residents are now asking the government to look for permanent solution in order to avoid further outbreak.
Looking at how this invasion is really is spreading in this country, even the food basket areas of this region, Central Kenya, Rift Valley, Western and Nyanza have not been spared. All this region has been affected. So that means a lot of attention needs to be focused in this region. Also, how to really see that this thing can be controlled in order to control the spread of invasion of locusts.
Mamo Ali, NTV, Marsabit.